Hey guys, it's Allison and I am getting ready to start day number 28's layout. Wow. I can't believe this is the last day of load. And I have completed 29 layouts for load. Well, this will be my 29th. And I filmed them all and I am like kind of gobsmacked that I managed to keep it up all month. It was so much fun, and I really hope you guys have been enjoying all the videos and everything. I'm gonna keep it up. I kind of like doing these videos, so I'm gonna keep them up. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up over there on the videos that you like, and I will keep making them for you. Okay, so today's adventure has to do with travel and how travel has changed you. Which this entire album that I have been scrapbooking for load is about one day, and not even like 4 hours out of one day, in a trip that we took to Britain. We took my kids back to Britain to meet my family over there, and to say that travel has changed me is it doesn't even begin to cover how I feel about traveling. I have traveled all my life with my parents. My parents took us all over the world for my dad's job, and I wasn't even born in Canada. I was born in Britain and we emigrated. So to say that I have traveled is kind of an understatement. So yeah. Travel is huge. Travel is so important. Everything that I am and that I do is because I have seen the world, really. So I don't know how to put that into a layout, and especially how to relate that to this Harry Potter album. So I'm going to choose the adventure, which is to use red, white, and black to create a layout, which is going to be a bit challenging because this album is very colorful. There's a couple of layouts that are monochromatic, but for the most part there's a lot of color on there, like all the colors of the rainbow. But I'm up for the challenge. So I've got 2 photos from platform 9 3/4, and I figure since there's going to be a lot of red in that section of the album, because I want to bring in the red from the Hogwarts Express, it's a good way to start that whole section is a red, white, and black layout about platform 9 3/4. So I've got some supplies and I'll just go through them real quick for you. I've got these black and white foam thickers. These were from or released with the Chamel collection. I can't remember which one though, but that's all I have left. I've been using them up. And then I've got my white chipboard thickers that have this sort of iridescent pattern on them, and I've got some little red tile stickers. That's all I have left. I have 1A, so I can only spell something that has 1A in it. And then papers. I have a cut apart sheet from Kaiser Craft, lots of black and white on there, and then the other side is this black or white ledger print, and there's even a row of black cameras that could come in handy. I pulled out this chalkboard frame paper from My Mind's Eye. This is from Chalk Studio. I don't know if I'll use it, but I thought I'd give myself some options to cut some different shapes other than boxes. The other side is gray with lots of cameras and things, so that will not come on there, but maybe. And then lots of red and white paper. So this is crepe paper from Love Note. I like the sort of hint of tape, I guess. Sort of brings in the scrapbooking. The other side is just not appropriate, but that's what the other side looks like. And then I've got a dots and stripes in red. So one side is red polka dot, the other side is tone on tone horizontal or diagonal stripes. I have this red plaid or check pattern, I guess, from Simple Stories Winter Wonderland. That's what the other side looks like. This one is from Heidi Swap Wanderlust, and it's white with this red graphic pattern on it. And then this is from Crepe Paper. I am not sure which collection this is from, but it just says Crepe Paper. It's just white and black, and a bunch of text. Could be good for a layer behind. And then the other side, oh, this is Chasing Dreams. Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams. The other side is yellow. And this is a Gossamer Blue paper, and I could use either side. So this is one side, and it's probably tripping your eyes out on the camera. It's just a very narrow herringbone in black and white. I believe it's black and white. It might be navy, but we can pretend. And then the other side is this red, giant, sort of chevronish, V-shaped, whatever you want to call that. So that's where I'm at, and I have no idea which one is going to be my background. So I'm going to start playing. I'm going to pull these two off to the side for now. I don't want to forget about them, but they're not going to be part of my background for sure. And then I'll figure out how I want to do this. All right, here we go. All right, so I decide to figure out which paper is going to mat my photos first, and then sort of work from the top down instead of the bottom up, I guess. And I decide that that red and white paper from Heidi Swap is going to mat my photos. But I'm not happy with that photo that just has the sign for platform 9 3/4 on it. There's a lot of sort of wasted space, I suppose, in it. And it seems really big on the page, like just, you know, sort of, it's going to take up a lot of real estate on my page, and there's not enough in the photo to sort of hold that real estate, if you understand what I'm saying. So I contemplated chopping it into a square, and then I had the idea of actually using it as part of my title. So I'm cutting it out to give it a bit of a special treatment. And that chalk paper from My Mind's Eye has this one frame that has a round center. So I find a die that fits that center and cut my photo out with that die. But I want to give it a little hit of red as well. So I find not a scallop circle, a pinked circle die that is slightly larger than the one that I used to cut my photo out. And I cut a piece of the Dots and Stripes paper to about 5 inches wide, I believe, and then I use that to cut out my pinked circle. So I'm gluing my photograph to that pink circle, and then the pink circle on to that frame. And I do lose the chalkboard element of that frame because the red covers all of the chalkboard, and all you're left with is that sort of chalk frame, the white chalk frame. But that's okay. I figure I can pull in more chalkboard elements in other ways. So now I have the remainder of that Dots and Stripes paper, and I've just chopped off the bit where it has the circle cut out of it. And I figure I can use the entire rest of the piece, but I want it polka dots because the background that I've decided to go with has these horizontal stripes on it. Sorry, I keep saying that. Diagonal stripes. So I don't want to repeat that. And then I've chosen the other two papers to layer underneath. And then to bring in more black onto that red background, you saw me add some black ink splatters, and that is the Dilutions black ink. And I guess I wasn't super careful about where I was sprinkling it on my work surface. So there's a few black dots that I get all over my papers. And yeah, I'm just going to live with it. So I bring my background back in. And I'll be honest, it's not completely dry, and I do smear a tiny bit, and I have it all over my hands now. But yeah, whatever. So now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my photos, and I decide to put my 9 3/4 up in the top right there, and I'm going to build my title right beside it. So I'm getting my letters out to spell platform, and these are the white ones with the sort of iridescent pattern on them. And there's no L. and I contemplate chopping a K up so that I can get the L, but then I realize that the J upside down looks a lot like an L. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize the top of this layout was getting cut off as I was making it, but I do actually bring the title down a little bit so you can see me glue it in place, because these are chipboard, so they need some extra glue in order to stay on my page. And I thought about adding the word getting on the platform or something like that. But not only do I only have one A on that letter sheet, I have no O's. So I abandon the red letters and I look at my black ones and I decide that it can easily be titled Hello Platform 9 3/4. And this is kind of an introduction page, I suppose, to this whole section on the Hogwarts train and everything, because I have quite a few photos left that I haven't scrapbooked yet. And I've already got a double page spread and 2 single page spreads from that platform. So it's going to be a significant section. So I figure it can sort of use a title page, if you will. So that's why I came up with that title. So now I'm trying to bring in more of that chalkboard, and I've cut out another shape, and I'm going to cut that strip of cameras off, and I really like them down at the bottom. It grounds the entire layout. So I'm just going to attach them. I didn't even really think about it too much. I just went ahead and glued it on. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you can play with papers and move things around for a long time, and sometimes you just know exactly where it needs to go. So now I wanted to include one of those die cut pieces, but it was really big and blocky, so I wanted to cut it out somehow, and I thought maybe I could cut it into a circle to mimic the title, but it's not, I don't have a big enough circle, basically. So I did chop it down into a smaller block, but it's still too big. And then I remember I actually have a 6x6. Well, actually, it's not quite 6x6. It's like 7x7 or some random size paper pad. And not only do I have the small version of that 12x12 paper, I've got this paper that has a whole lot of round black circle little sayings. And they also have a bonus of having this sort of glossy texture to them, so it adds a different texture to the layout rather than just matte paper. So I cut out the exact same square that I had cut out in the big version, but in the little version, and I just trim it down a little bit. And then I'd also punched out, because that paper pad has some shapes that you can punch out. So I've got this scalloped border, and then there was a little label bit as well that I add to the top of the layout eventually. And then I decide to move my journaling block down further, and I chop off the top of it so that I can have it up at the top of the page. So it's just, I'm attaching it up there right now. And it's got this sort of bird image on it. And right now I think the bird is sort of upside down and half chopped off. But that's okay. I know that I can find something to cover that up eventually. So I get a couple of accent pieces in. I want to bring that black foam throughout the layout. It is quite visually heavy up there at the top, so if I can sprinkle it around my layout a little bit more, it won't feel quite so heavy in the title. And now I'm just getting my journaling in. So journaling done, it's time to figure out the rest of my embellishments. There's that little round label piece. And now I want to get my circles on. And when I flipped the paper over, the whole layout, when I was trimming off the very top little bit there, I managed to fling the little black circles all over my desk, and I have lost one of them. So I've got 4, and now I'm just taking the time to look for the 5th one that has gone missing. And I wanted to sprinkle them around, so I have adhered down the 3 that I could find that I knew exactly where I wanted them to be positioned. And then after I find that 5th one, I can get the other 2 in place. So I'm trying to arrange them around the layout so that they encompass the photos and the journaling. And then I went through the Glitter Girl die cut pack that I have, and there was 2 red pieces in there. One, these sunglasses that I currently have at the top left that say super cool, and then that red camera. Also in my kit of supplies for this album is this pack from Simple Stories of stickers. This is from their, I think, Documented Life collection or something like that. So there are quite a few red and black and white pieces in there. So I do eventually dot some of those around. There's some hearts and some circles. There might even be a star. I can't remember. There are some white stars with a black outline, or they're black stars on white, however you want to call that, that I dot around as well. Figure I might as well bring up the star motif, sort of play up on it a bit more. So I'm just having fun getting my embellishments in place, and I do realize that there's a whole lot of paper going on, but not a ton of extra texture. So I go looking for some enamel dots, and I find I found 3 packs actually. I've only ended up using the dots from 2 of them. I had 3 red glittery stars left over from a set that had some airplanes and geotags and then these glittery stars on it. And then I had 5 white glittery ones that were left over from a card kit. So those ones went on, and that was it. My layout was done. You know, for only having 3 colors on here, I don't feel that this is a boring layout at all. I think there's lots of interesting things to look at, lots of textures, both physical and visual, and enough space for me to get everything on there that I wanted to say. Okay, that is it. Layout 28 in the bag. Load 218 in the bag. Cannot believe it. Thank you so much for joining me on this fun adventure, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.